Hey, this is Steve, Nashville, Tennessee, and you're listening to Count It Off.
All right, it is time for Count It Off. Kick it off, Marcia.
Welcome to Count It Off with your host, Jeff Dayton, where we explore the world of music through the eyes of some fascinating guests. So get tuned up and let's count it off.
All right, you guys, we have an amazing guest with us today. His name is Callum Kerr, Scottish-born, Texas-raised, Nashville living. I tell you what, and this guy is one handsome dude. So ladies, check him out quick. I think he's got a big career ahead of him. And I like him already, and I just met him. So we're going to get down to it here, and we're going to welcome our special guest, Mr. Callum Kerr. Hey, Callum.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. And I have to tell you, I'm a picker, a writer, a road dog, a producer, all of the above. And in this podcast series, I've been just calling my friends, people I know, like from Prince, Bob Dylan, Beach Boys, jazz guys, and Toby Keith and whatnot. And you're the first guy on the podcast that I don't already know. So there's a big deal right there. Hey, let's hear it.
Hey, I'll take it, Jeff. That's great news for me, and hopefully I don't let you down. I'm sure your friends are great guests, so I'm gonna do my best here.
Thank you so much, man. I tell you what, we've got a lot of things to talk about and a lot of your music. So, folks, I want to tell you first of all that Callum, his bio says, even though he only started releasing his own music recently, he insists country music has been in his bones from day one. Thanks to a grandfather who idolized Willie Nelson, as did most of us, and a father who blasted Garth Brooks at home. Professionally, he's a model and actor, and he's been in 13 different TV series and a handful of movies, including Monarch on Fox, and the one that I am going to start watching, and I'm going to binge this thing, man. It's called Virgin River, and a new one called One Place, both on Netflix. So why don't you go back to your roots and tell us where you were born and how things got going for you?
Sounds good, Jeff. Yeah, I so born in Edinburgh in Scotland, and I grew up there until I didn't leave there until I was 17. And to be honest, I didn't really listen to any country music growing up. I listened to a lot of rock music because I wasn't a fan of the pop music on the radio back then. When you're a young kid, you're like, I don't want to listen to the Spice Girls again,
or Bay City Rollers or something,
Yeah, well, I wish, man, I wish.
Yeah.
But I found rock music and mostly American bands, to be honest. Green Day and Fall Out Boy and My Chemical Romance and all these bands that were just huge when I was in late elementary school, early high school. And it wasn't until I got to Texas when I was 17 where I first really started listening to country music. I just fell in love pretty much right away, and it became a total passion of mine. And it was funny because when I first visited home back in Scotland after finding all this music, that's when I found out that my grandfather had all these Willie Nelson LPs and vinyls, and my dad was like, well, I know Garth Brooks. I was a big fan of Garth Brooks in the 90s, and I was like, why did nobody play this stuff in front of me?
Well, look at the path, though, and the path is it's different for everybody, and the cool thing is that you're here. Are you living in Nashville now?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I've been living here for 3 years.
Oh, well, welcome to town, brother. I've been writing songs here for 40 years and living here 25, so I can say welcome, newcomer. But well, the water is deep and there's plenty of room, and this is the best town for music in the world. I wanted to share with you too that I was Glenn Campbell's guitar player for 15 years, and back when just a year ago we went over and did a tour, and we stopped for 3 dates. Not with Glenn, but doing his music, and we played the Voodoo Room in Edinburgh. That's a cool venue, man.
Oh, dude, I love the Voodoo Room, man. Did you see the ceiling? The gold and black ceiling.
Yes.
With all the kind of. Yeah. I think it used to be a bank or something like that, but it's such a cool building.
Yeah, it's an antique kind of a historical place, and the restaurant is full, and the bars are full of that old wood, from the old days, from 80 years ago, and that was the best one of all the Scottish venues we did. Where's the Kerr clan from?
So they're from they're very spread out. They're kind of from all over, but they're lowlands. Kind of it depends which branch of history you look at, because there's a bunch of them that went right up into the Highlands, but they were kind of lowland marshland people. They got in some trouble over the years because they would steal from clans that they were supposed to be friends with.
Well, it was
they weren't. I guess they they weren't the most honest of clans at times, but you know, they were handy. And they were, you know, good in combat, and I guess, you know, eventually they would team up with some of the larger clans when it came to wartime. So they kind of all over. But I mean, my immediate family, you know, my dad's family goes back generations in Edinburgh, like, you know, at least 6, and then we can't really find much out before that. And my mother's family was all in the borders of Scotland, and you know, around Edinburgh and the Lothians. So
yeah,
you know, my roots are all in that kind of one big circle of southeast Scotland.
Okay, yeah, I'm thinking Carlisle down towards Newcastle that way.
My grandfather was he was Galashiels and Melrose, and my grandmother was Kelso. Yeah, so you know, just all those kind of hilly, mountainy borders towns.
Nice.
That was my mom's side, and my dad's side was, you know, just Edinburgh city dwellers. You know, lived in tenement buildings up until, you know, my grandfather was the first of anyone he could remember to own a house and not live in a tenement with 1 bedroom and 5 siblings. Yeah,
hard-working people that made the country great. You know, I'm actually a McDonald from Skype. And my grandmother was, her dad was John Flower McDonald. And,
oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
One of the things that happened when the first time we toured England with Glenn, I went right to the Scotch House and I bought a McDonald tartan tie, a wool tie. And I was wearing it at a show, and it was somewhere in the Midlands, maybe, I don't know, Wolverhampton or something like that. And a fella comes up to me and he goes, "So you're a McDonald?" I said, "Yeah, how do you know?" And he goes, "You're Thai lad." And I looked down, oh, okay, there's the giveaway. He goes, "Are you working with a Campbell? How can you do it, lad?" Anyway, that's my little Scottish bit for us. So I guess we're connected in some ways.
Brilliant.
That's great.
Well, I'm just glad you had a good time. It's Scotland, especially the music fans in Scotland are just some of the best in the world. You know, the people that go there from, you know, Europe and the US and all over, they always talk about how energetic the Scottish fans are. So I'm glad you got a good reception and you got to play some cool spots.
Yeah, and we've made many tours over there with Glenn over the years, and this is the first one I've done under my name. So anyhow, back to you, and here you are in Nashville. You're doing all kinds of work, but I think the thing that really impressed me was the sound of the tracks that I got, and I want to just share with you guys here a little bit. We're going to go into, I think this is going to be Whatever Gets You There.
All right.
Is it dressed up? Is it stripped down? Is it later on? Is it right now that takes you to that place that takes your breath away? Is it red wine? Is it John Mayer? Is it uptown? Is it upstairs that gets you in that mood? 'Cause girl, I wanna do whatever lights your fire, whatever turns you on, whatever feels just right. I'll do it all night long. I wanna be that touch that gets your hair messed up, whatever makes you wanna slip a lock on the door, whatever you got on, slip it off on the floor. White sheets tangled up, right here waking up, whatever gets you there.
Yeah, man. We are listening to Callum Kerr, our guest for Count It Off today. And man, that is a killer sound. And I know why, because I was reading your bio and you're working with Dan Huff.
Yeah, man. That's so. Dan Huff and his brother David started their own label. It's called Huff Co. And I was one of 3 artists that they signed since starting it. And dude, what a pleasure working with those guys. I mean, legends, obviously, but you know, they're guys that could retire today, and I'm sure they'd be comfortable for the rest of their life. They just love music, man. And the sound. You know, I kind of talked through what I was looking for. I said, you know, I grew up listening to rock, and then, you know, I kind of transitioned into country, but I'd love to have some of those rock elements and you know, from the solos to the big drums and stuff. I think they just nailed it.
Well, that's Dan's specialty, and I don't know his brother, but Dan is just like such a legend for all the production work he's done in town, and he's just a badass guitar player on top of it. Did he play on your project too, or did he bring in somebody like Bukovac?
There was a bunch of session guitar players in there, and I was actually filming a TV show in South Africa when they did all the instrumental stuff for the album. So I didn't actually get to be there on the day, which was a shame. They were FaceTiming me when they were in the studio, so that was kind of cool. But yeah, he's just a well of knowledge. So he played some stuff. The other guys played some stuff, and I think it was just then down to mixing it all together and making it sound classic, Huff-like, and just making it sound radio ready.
It is definitely radio ready, man. And I tell you, that has got to be a cool thing. What did it feel like to you when the first time you heard the mixed tracks? What was it like? I'll go back a tiny bit, because the first time I heard just the studio tracks with no mixing, without any Atmos or reverb or anything added, it already sounded amazing, and it sounded huge. So I was like, oh, this is these songs are going to be massive, because they haven't even began the mixing process yet. And then the mixes came through, and those guys are just so good that it's so much easier to. I almost had no notes for any of the songs. Any of the notes were like, what do you think about doing the vocal this way, as opposed to anything instrumentally, because they just nailed it. And I was going to add as well, so David Huff is Dan Huff's brother. He was the drummer for the band Giant that Dan was the guitar player for. Those guys are working together for years. How did you run? I mean, most people in Nashville are here to dream, and they're trying to get by on their savings or whatever. They're working, they're waiting tables. What got you here, and how did you end up getting to work with Dan and David?
So, country music was always just a hobby of mine for a long time. And then I did a TV show called Monarch, where I played a country singer on the show. And I spoke to a lot of people that were on the show working from Nashville. They wanted to bring in the best musicians for the show. So they brought in all these badass country, guitar players and producers and stuff from Nashville. And I was talking to them about it, and they were like, dude, you got to go to Nashville. You got to see it. And I'd been living in Austin at the time. And as soon as I landed in Nashville, I was like, this is the music industry. This is what I wish that Austin was when I was living there. Everybody wants to do country in some way in this town. And so as soon as my boots landed on the ground, I was like, I'm staying. And I've pretty much been here since, And but without having to do those other jobs, like I still play covers sometimes in town here. There's a couple of legendary bars. They used to be called Winners and Losers. They're now Losers and Riley Green's Duck Blind. He took it over earlier last year. Yep. But I still play at those venues because like you said, some people are they've got a day job, or they've got serving tables or whatever. So that's kind of like when things are quiet, that's the rent payer right there. And it's been great. A big shout out to Losers and Riley Greens, because they've definitely filled in the gaps for me when I'm not acting or out playing gigs.
Yeah, well, you're one of the rare ones to come here with a gig, and then you just get to add on to that with your music career, which I tell you what, folks, I mean, I'm a pretty good judge. I like to do what I call a vibe check with people. And this man, Callum Kerr, is going to be going big places. So someday he's not going to take my calls anymore. This is going to be really good.
That's not true, man. We'll always have space for Jeff here.
Yeah, all right. Let me add some more work here that you've done, and I have a track that I'm going to pull up right now. You've got such good stuff. I'm kind of a big fan of songwriting, I mean, storytelling and acoustic stuff, because that's kind of where I am these days. And this is one of Callum's tracks. This is called All Out of Me.
Shot of makers, a last call mistaker, a Friday night heartbreaker, for you. I was an outskirts of towner, goodbye on the counter. I never sat on downer before you took the roll out the stone, the gone out the lead. You took the walk away out my boots, girl. You put some roots under me, 'cause you saw the man this cowboy could be. With one little look, baby, you took it all out of me, all out of me.
Man, I'm hearing hit after hit, brother. That is really good stuff. Really good stuff. I love it.
Thanks, man.
Great lyrics.
Thanks, dude. That song is that, you know, that was one of the ones that was like, this one's definitely going on the EP. You know, it's just such a cool. I just loved that one from the start. And I'm actually playing that song at the Grand Ole Opry on Saturday night here in Nashville, which should be a lot of fun.
Oh, dude, I wish I could be there. I've got to fly to Phoenix Friday and do a gig out there. I have a friend that passed on from muscular dystrophy I'd known for over 40 years, and he phoned me the day before he passed and asked me to promise that I'd sing at his memorial. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm missing you, but I will catch you down the road, and let's stay in touch on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear about your buddy, but what an honor. We've all been through tough times, and I know there were some tough times in your recent past here, and I won't go there if you don't want to, but I just wanted you to know that we all have to walk through it sometimes. We gotta gather up. We got to punch through it no matter what. Yeah, absolutely. Life goes on. Yeah, I mean, I'll stick to talking about the music, obviously, just because we got a limited time. But one day we can sit down and shoot the shit over our old pals.
Definitely want to. I want to talk about your voice a little bit, Callum, because as a producer, I listen for voices and I love them. And so much of country radio kind of has fallen into the same side of the road. It's sort of the same lane vocally, and the guy across the street from me mixes Morgan Wallen and Hardy and Truck Bit. He did Ernest and Keith Urban in Florida, Georgia, and there are very few distinctive voices in the mix these days. But bro, you've got a voice that sounds like you worked as hard as your ancestors there in Scotland, and worked hard, drank hard, partied hard, got your heart broke hard.
All of the above.
Yeah. And the nice thing about it is you haven't tried to, at least to my ears, you've not tried to change to fit Nashville as a singer. You've just been Callum.
Yeah, I mean, there's no one that can be, more Luke Combs than Luke Combs, or more Chris Stapleton than Chris Stapleton, and Wallen than Wallen, and all the, I could go down the list of all the greats right now. I couldn't do it any other way, I think. And I like having something that's a little bit different, especially with, there is a specific kind of country twang that people can end up sounding the same, and it's, it can be hard to tell who's singing which song, Yeah. And I think that is really what sets these amazing singers aside, is, when you hear a Cody Johnson song or a Luke Combs song, it's their song. There's no mistaking who's singing that song, and so that's definitely something I've kept in mind, because I don't want to sound like anyone else, but it would also be nice that if someone heard a song, they go, oh, I know this guy from another song. That's Callum Kerr, and I've heard his voice on another song that I like, so I'm going to tune in here.
Yeah,
and that's definitely something that I'd love to to keep.
I want to go here with you now for a second. This is from your bio. In addition to his growing country music career, Callum is an established actor with 13 movies and TV series under his belt. Currently, he stars as young Everett in Netflix's global hit Virgin River. Yeah, I'll check it out. With an increasing buzz around a potential prequel focused on Everett and Sarah. I watched some of that, man, and it's a beautiful show, and it's just I can't wait to binge on the whole thing. He's also committed his role as Smoker in season 2 of Netflix's live-action One Piece, one of the platform's most streamed franchises. I guess that all came first, didn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. I'd been acting professionally since I was about 21. Obviously, when I say professionally in the early days, that means, theater for $150 a week. But, I was still getting paid back then, and, just making rent and all that. But I started acting for money quite a bit before I ever did music professionally. But I guess it's kind of the same as music. You just start real small, and I've been so lucky over the last couple of years to be doing some of those projects. I mean, Netflix has been so kind to me, and Virgin River is now the longest running Netflix original show on the platform, and One Piece has just got such a huge audience. And I think they said that the season that I'm in, because I joined for the second season, I wasn't in the first season, but the second season's coming out sometime in 2026. They don't have a date pinned down yet, but man, that was so fun. And wow. I played a character called Smoker. And dude, this guy, when I got the role, I was like, there's no way they're giving me a character this cool. He's got a huge, like, three-wheeled motorbike trike thing. And he smokes cigars, like, sometimes 2 at a time. And I was just like, what the hell? This guy's freaking awesome. And
that is so cool.
Man, what a pleasure it was playing that.
Man, and you've got both careers happening strong right now. I wonder how much it's going to be pulling you from place to place. Oh, we need you on a movie. Well, we need you on an episode. Oh, we need you in the studio, and we need you to play the Opry. I mean, you're going to need to clone yourself and go about 3 places at once.
Yeah. If you ever find a way to do that, you got to let me know first. Right?
Yeah. I would.
But I used to say, because whenever people would talk about stuff like that, and they'd say, oh, if you had to pick, and I'd say, look, it's a great problem to have, if there's so many offers and so much going on at once. But there are people, in both industries that do that kind of stuff. You look at like Jared Leto with 30 Seconds to Mars, and obviously his amazing acting career. And Kevin Hart does about 6 bloody movies a year, and he does a stand-up tour in stadium. It's like, if these guys can do it, we might not be at their level yet, but we can certainly just sleep less until then. And I'm so lucky. I've got a great family here, and I've got a fiance and a little baby, and they come everywhere with me. So it's that makes it a lot. I definitely couldn't do it without them. I certainly couldn't raise a kid without my fiance. I tell you that. I couldn't raise a kid and have the dual careers going on at the same time. So I'm lucky enough that I have help where I need it, and support, and the label, my manager Kylie, and these people do all the shit behind the scenes that's boring and it takes forever, and I get to do the fun stuff. So it's really thanks to all those guys.
That's great. I want to pull a quote. I was surfing through some YouTube stuff, and I found a short where you were doing a video interview with somebody, and this quote I thought stood out. You said, "I wouldn't act for free, but I would play music for free."
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I kind of was for years. I was always acting. I would say acted for free. I did youth theater and stuff like that. But the passion for music that I have is, I would happily, if I had another job and music didn't work out, I would never stop playing music. I'd be in my living room playing music, until the day I died, even if it never worked out career wise. But if everything in acting dried up, I don't know if I would particularly go back to youth theater again. You know what I mean? But hey, you never know. I mean, the one thing that I wouldn't mind maybe doing at some point is doing something, back in Scotland, and setting up, some kind of theater or some kind of, program for kids in the school that I went to, because I'm like the first guy to do anything music-y, acting-y on this level from that school, and I just think there's probably so many talented kids that just think like, we're from Musselburgh, Scotland, we either become plumbers or electricians, and that's the only options we have. So who knows? We'll see. But I'd love to do something like that someday.
Well, that says a lot about you right there, because giving it back to the kids. I have a program that I do songwriting with kids, and it's been 15 years running, where I go in, and it's called Making Music Nashville Style, and we do 5th grade classes, and we show them how the equality of Nashville songwriting is a great way for the kids to level it out, and there's no bosses and no flunkies, and the song is king, and at the end of the residency, they stand up and sing their own original songs for the sobbing parents and the cheering classmates. Oh, it's really
amazing.
Yeah.
That must be great.
Oh,
dude.
it is. It is. Well, you know, Callum, you have, I can already tell because you've got that unique personality. There's nobody like you right now that I can think of, you know, except maybe Craig Ferguson, but he doesn't do what you do. And, you know, I had the privilege when I was with Glenn Campbell to sit at dinner, and I was sitting next to Sam Elliott and across from Clayton Moore and James Garner. And I was like, Sam Elliott really stuck in my mind because he was such, and he still is, such a forceful personality. I mean, you can't ignore him. You know exactly who that is. And you're going to do that musically and in your acting. I can feel this. I know it's going to be good.
Thank you so much for saying that, man.
Yeah.
That's so kind of you, brother. I appreciate that, man.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, well, you know, we support each other. Here we are in Nashville, and nobody's dragging anybody down to get ahead. You know, it's not like lobsters in a bucket trying to get out, climbing over somebody, but you are definitely headed for good stuff. And I'm going to give you a choice here, okay? The 3 songs before we go. I've got Cold Beer Cold, It Ain't Working, and Silver Lining. What's your pick?
Oh, good question. God. Well, Cold Beer Cold is out, so you can listen to that just now. So I'm going to say let's go with It Ain't Working.
All right, here's Callum Kerr. Check this out.
I wasn't trying to get here at the bottom of another nothing empty glass. Time heals the pain, they say, but the problem is tonight it ain't looking like that. The door hit the frame, your foot hit the floor, and sorry never stood a chance at turning you back. This heart's working hard on a midnight shift, and the paycheck's whiskey burning. I almost get you going and think I'm done with it, but your memory's pouring on to hurt it. Spiral had one damn job to do, just had to get me over you, and it ain't working. It ain't working. I'm staring at levels.
All right, folks, hit song, man. That is so strong. And for a guy to just come to town and have that be your first stuff, dude, that's a home run right on rookie day. First day in the major leagues, and he swatted one out right over center field.
And you know, I've been here long enough that I get that.
Yeah, that's right. Baseball, that's a new thing.
We didn't grow up with baseball. I had to go to a few games and sit next to some friends and ask them loads of annoying questions.
Yeah. Well, and it's the same thing with cricket. When I'm over in the UK, man, I don't know what overs are. You know, it's just like so confusing.
Dude, even I don't really understand cricket.
Oh, that's great. Well, folks, we've been talking with a wonderful guy, and if you can't tell that already, then you probably went and made a pizza and left the room, because this is Callum Kerr. I want you guys to check him out. He's on Netflix with his acting career. He's on Huff Bro, which is going to be your debut album here with Dann Huff and David Huff. And I hear nothing but success for this guy. So, man, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us, Callum.
It was completely my pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and I only have one more thing for you to do. Tell us your website, first of all.
Funny story. We're setting up the website last minute right now because I didn't have one for the longest time. So it should come out in a couple of weeks, I think. Oh gosh, I don't want to give the wrong name, but you can follow me on all the social media platforms, and I'll post the website there when it's live.
All right. Last thing you got to do is just do us a favor and say bye bye.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye, everybody. Hey, baby.
Thanks for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed this show. We invite you to check out all the other episodes and share this channel with all of your friends. Until next time,